Daniel was half asleep when the sharp buzz of his phone jolted him awake. His apartment was silent, except for the faint hum of the refrigerator. Groggy, he reached out, squinting at the glowing screen. His blood ran cold, his heart stuttered in his chest. Emily. His wife. But Emily had been dead for 6 months. His breath came in short, panicked bursts as his trembling fingers hovered over the screen. This had to be a cruel prank. Some kind of sick joke. Or maybe he was dreaming. With a shaking hand, he pressed accept. Hello? At first, silence. Then,
Daniel, can you hear me?
his breath caught in his throat. It was her. Her voice, soft, distant, fragile. A lump formed in his throat as he clutched the phone tighter.
Emily? This isn't real. Who is this?
A crackling noise distorted the call. Static. Then her voice returned, laced with a sorrow so deep it made his stomach twist.
You have to stop looking for answers, Danny. Please, just let me go.
What? No, Emily, wait.
The line went dead. The screen went dark. Call ended. Daniel sat in stunned silence, his entire body shaking. His heart pounded violently in his chest as he stared at the screen, praying it would ring again. It didn't. Emily lay in the hospital bed, her face pale but smiling. The light in her once vibrant green eyes was dimming, fading like a candle in the wind. Daniel sat beside her, gripping her frail hand, willing his warmth to bring her back.
Promise me something, Danny.
She whispered, her voice barely above a breath. His throat was thick with emotion.
Anything.
Emily's lips trembled into a weak smile.
If something happens to me, don't drown in it. Don't let the grief consume you.
His chest tightened.
Nothing's going to happen to you.
She squeezed his hand gently. A knowing look passed through her tired eyes. A month later, she was gone. Was someone messing with him? Or was he losing his mind? He opened his call log, scrolling frantically. Nothing. No record of the call. His fingers clenched into fists. He dialed the number back. Disconnected. His stomach twisted in knots. He shot up from his chair, rushing to the closet. He dug through a box of old belongings until he found it. Emily's phone, dusty. Lifeless. His hands trembled as he powered it on. The screen flickered weakly before displaying the home screen. There, in her messages, sat a single unsent draft. His breath hitched.
If I could say one last thing, I'd tell you to live. Please, Daniel, don't waste your life missing me. Just be happy.
Daniel stared at the words, his vision blurring with unshed tears. His mind reeled. The call. It wasn't real. It was never real. Emily hadn't called him. His mind had. He had spent months drowning in grief, refusing to let her go. His subconscious had given him the one thing he couldn't accept: closure.
I hear you, Em.
His voice cracked. But for the first time, the crushing weight on his chest lightened. His fingers hovered over the screen for a long moment, before he did the hardest thing he had ever done. He deleted the message. For the first time in months, Daniel steps outside. The world is still the same, but something within him is different. The pain hasn't vanished, but it no longer controls him. He doesn't need answers anymore. He just needs to live. As he walks down the street, he pulls out his phone. A photo of Emily smiles back at him. He exhales softly.
Thank you.
And for the first time in a long, long time, he smiles back. Sometimes, the hardest goodbye is to the past. But moving on doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing to live, just as they would want you to. If you've ever lost someone, take this as your sign to live for them. Subscribe for more real, emotional stories. Comment below. Have you ever felt like a lost loved one was still with you?